Do you have a problem with the handling of this situation?
Of course. Look, yesterday, Justin Fields made comments about wanting the football season, petitioning, hey, let's have football. And I thought his points were good. Because his point is, if you are going to have students on campus, I actually feel safer as a football player given the protocols that we go through in terms of us versus the general population on campus. That's a legitimate point. You have to reckon with that point. And what I did to reconcile my own view, which is there shouldn't be college football, given the current circumstances this season, was that, right, Fields is right. There's hypocrisy here. There shouldn't be students on campus, probably, period. And by the way, I'm starting to see this now. Schools that thought they were going to open with what they called pods, smaller groups of classes, they take a day off, they rotate students so there's more social distancing, more space, fewer students, all those things. They're starting to take a wait-and-see approach. This is happening now. Like, maybe we won't do that in September. Maybe we'll wait till October. Because if you look at the health experts, they're saying it's about to get a lot worse in flu season and a lot more confusion about who has what in flu season. And so more social distancing will be necessary. So that's how I could deal with Fields' point, because he brings up a good point. This is flying in the face of that. This is, no, forget about like someone in Fields' case, well, if we're going to have classes, then why can't I play football? This is, there will be no classes and you're going to play football. How do you figure? I mean, at least the veil, the veneer of amateurism, the veil, like the hypocrisy, is exposed here completely. It's naked now. Wait a minute. So really, these aren't student athletes. This is a money-making venture for you, and these are this is the unpaid labor, and you want them to work, right? I know it's like practically a religion in the South, but what that translates to for the football program is money. And so like, it goes without saying, but I guess I'll say it, that's outrageous. Given the current circumstances, even before the kind of widely available saliva tests that the NBA and NBA Players Association have come up with, in the absence of a vaccine, of a vaccination, how do you even have classes, let alone play football? But certainly, how do you play football when you don't even have classes? Like, let's dismiss this whole, they're student athletes, it's about the student. Stop it. This lays bare what it's really about.
Well, since it lays bare what it's really, really about, to use your words, I have even less of a problem with it. And to be quite honest with you, I'm kind of surprised you do have a problem with it. Let's take into account what's transpiring here. And I say this respectfully, recognizing the fact that it's important that we need to emphasize, again, the need for safety protocols to be employed, to be exercised adroitly, to make sure that we do everything that we can to keep the students and the student athletes as safe as possible. We get all of that. But if Justin Fields, if we are to concede that Justin Fields has a legitimate point where he talks about the probability of us being safer amongst ourselves than not having football and then being left to our own devices, and because of that we'd be less safe under those circumstances than we would be if we were a part of a football team and playing a football season, then it is conceivable that you could be safer playing football at North Carolina, especially since you don't have to mingle with the student body because they wouldn't be on campus. You'd be on campus playing football, but they wouldn't be. So it's almost the equivalent of folks, to some degree anyway, having to go to work, but in the same breath, not having to be stuck in the congested environments in order to pull that off. That's number one. Number two, and more importantly, let's get to the real crux of this. When we talk about the hypocrisy of the NCAA, isn't this a good thing? Because guess what? Without the students on campus, but the student athlete is on campus, clearly there to make you money, then the argument of amateur status literally disintegrates before our very eyes. And the University of North Carolina has helped us pull that off. Because by not having the students there, but insisting on, or allowing rather, to have the football team there, knowing that the ACC is intending on playing football and you're going to have games that are played and therefore you're going to be able to make money off of that, that elevates the argument or the potency of the argument that can be made by these quote-unquote student athletes that indeed we're not amateurs. We're employees because you've let the students stay home and go to class virtually online, but us, you want us on campus so we can be able to make this money for you. So I see it as a win for student athletes across the college football landscape, because if there was ever a time that you can look at employee status being applicable, it is based off of something like this. To me, I like it. I'm not really bothered by it.
Stephen A., I'm not either, because nothing really shocks me or should shock anyone else. And Max, just let me jump in and do something I've never done in my life. I'm going to defend the NCAA for 1 second. The NCAA does not want college football this year. They've made that very clear in what Mark Emmert has said and what his counsels have said. This has turned into a Game of Thrones. You have 5 Power 5 conferences, 2 are gone, and the other 3 really don't care what they see on their radar right now. They want to beat the other 2 down into submission. We've watched how badly the Big Ten has looked. The new commissioner, Kevin Warren, has been eviscerated from coast to coast. Justin Fields has not helped. The coaches have not helped. The athletic director at Penn State, Sandy Barber, said yesterday, I don't even know if they took a vote. Nobody knows what happened. So therefore, rightly or wrongly, and you both have made very eloquent arguments, the University of North Carolina is saying, listen, we don't want to ruin the party. We want to get to September 12th or 26th or whatever the starting date is so we can make the other guys look bad for shutting down too early. And in reality, that's what happened. Nobody's saying we should have college football, at least in intercollegiate athletics. They're all using the cliches. We're cautiously optimistic. We're moving with safety protocols carefully. I mean, they're boring us to death, but they're still making their claim. But the Big Ten looks so bad, guys, that everyone else is even more determined than ever to get closer to the starting line.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.